the Independent School District 832, a regular board meeting on Monday, December 16th at 7 p.m. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call of attendance, please.
Director Dolman. Director Payne. Director Regan.
Here.
Director Donna here. Director Peterson.
Here.
Director Stout.
I'm looking for a motion to approve the agenda for this evening. Moved by Director Doman. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Director Peterson. Any discussion about the agenda? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We move the agenda. Next, I'm looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda. Is
I'll
there a
move.
motion? Director Peterson, motion, second?
Second.
Second by Director Doman. Any discussion about the consent agenda? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next, superintendent comments.
Yes, thank you, and I'll be brief. We're going to have a short meeting this evening, but before we get started, I do want to make a few comments about a couple of people who are leaving us. In the consent agenda that you just approved, Nicole Flessner, who has been our HR director for the past 19 years, has accepted another position. So today was her last day with the district, and she is someone who you've gotten to know, and staff throughout the district know as well, as somebody who makes great connections, and we will definitely miss her. So I wanted to acknowledge Nicole. And then also Dr. Lucy Payne is stepping off the board, and so I want to also acknowledge her contribution to the district. She's been on the school board for over 10 years. She was appointed in 2014. She served as chair and vice chair, numerous district community committees. She was active as a leader in the state through MSBA and AMSD, a real champion for the performing arts in our district and in the community, both through her work as a volunteer for the performing arts in our district, but also for the Wildwood Artist Series and at Ashland Theater. So she's been constantly present and engaged in performing arts for our students, both locally and in the area. And so that's been a real passion for her, and we're really thankful for her work there. We are going to see her subbing some in the district. She'll be back, but we do want to thank her for her years of service, her dedication to our district, her dedication to public education in general in our state as well. So she wasn't able to be here, but I still wanted to make sure we had a chance to acknowledge her. So thank you. That's what I wanted to make sure I had a chance to do.
Thank you, Lucy and Nicole, for your dedication and time for Independent School District 832. We are grateful for all of your work. Anybody else have any comments or questions about that?
Superintendent Duffrin summed it up very well for both. Thank you.
That was my goal. I do want to make it clear that I did ask the board to help me determine, things I wanted to make sure I had acknowledged about her work, and so that thank you is on behalf of the school board and the district. So thank you.
Thank you. Next, we're going to move on to action items. I'm looking for a motion to approve the donations and grants totaling $30,955,077. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Director Donna. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Director Doman. Any discussion? All donations and grants are greatly appreciated. The use of these funds will be to further the mission of the school district and are used towards the wishes of the donor. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we are going to move on to action item B, which is Truth and Taxation Presentation Hearing by Tim Erickson. Prior to Tim's presentation, do we have anyone in the audience that would like to provide public comments on the Truth and Taxation Are we going to do
Well,
that after?
They do it, there's a moment after Tim gives his presentation, anyone who would like to have public comment. This is the one time when public comment happens during the school board meetings, is the only time. And it's after Tim's presentation, his truth and taxation presentation.
Which that makes a lot more sense to me, but I saw it written otherwise, so I just
Okay.
went with it.
Yep.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So most of you are familiar with this. I think all of you are familiar with this. I know I've now been around a little over a year, so I know everybody sitting here is familiar with this. So this is for for your review, and we review the current budget that was also preliminarily approved by the board or approved by the board. It's a preliminary budget for this current year that we're in as well. So the proposed levy, which was the taxes payable in 2025, funds the 25-26 school year. So just a bit of information. That can get kind of confusing when we get into a lot of different fiscal years. When we look at the final adopted levy, the certification deadlines here, there are some things that the board needs to do to make sure that we're able to file with the county and file with the state, the Department of Revenue, et cetera. We have some timelines there. And so essentially, to sum this up, we file a truth and taxation compliance certificate with the Department of Revenue, and it's by within 5 business days of December 20th, which effectively is December 30th. And then we also file with the home county auditor what the board certified for the taxes payable. And so that's just to give you an idea of the requirements there. The next part is just to talk a little bit about the different types of property taxes that school districts levy and that Mahtomedi levies. And so we have the first category would be voter approved levies. So things like an operating referendum, which we have here, a capital projects levy, which we have here, and building improvements, and that's to pay bonds on bonded debt. So which we have here. So we have all 3 of those, and those are the voter approved. And then we have things that are called discretionary levies. So those are expenditures which have levy limits authorized in law for school districts. So we have one that I'm sure you've heard a lot about, and we approve a 10-year plan for this every year, is a long-term facilities maintenance. And that's a levy. It's part levy and part aid. And so that's one of our larger ones. Safe Schools levy, which is just what it says. It is we can use that for expenditures for safety and security. And then the lease levy, which again is things like facilities, like if we rent a swimming pool, or if we rent, if we actually have a new lease on tonight for the passages space, those types of things. So those are pieces that we levy for as a regular part of our business, and we do that every year. The different things that cause this levy to move and to change are things like certainly enrollment causes that levy to go up or down depending on what our enrollment is doing at the time. A lot of our levies are function of enrollment, student enrollment. So you'll see that. Also, when we're going through the year and we're wrapping up one year and going into another year, there are estimates in the beginning and some of those things are estimates in the levy. And then we actually go through at the end of the year and we get actual revenues and actual expenditures. And those things are updated and finalized with the Department of Education as we go through the whole process. And then we also have the fiscal, when the fiscal year is closed, we have the independent audit, which that gets submitted to the state as well. And so all of those things play a part in driving the different numbers of the levy, of the different levies in the payable levy. This particular levy includes the step up. So that step up in the operating referendum. So that was going from $12.95 per student to $15.70 per student in this case. So that step up is included in this levy. And you'll see when we get to this next page, you can see that when we look at those different categories or different areas of the levy, you can see the general fund The levy change there is 983,000, primarily all driven by that step up in levy. There's other little changes in there, but primarily the 900,000 is generated by that step up levy. Community service has a small increase going from 185 to 189. And then debt service, that's just what we're paying, what we're expecting to pay next year in our debt service. So going from 5 million, pretty much level, 5,694,000 to 5,705,000. So then you can see the total change in the levy, just under $1 million. And then when we look at taking these actual levy dollars, and for our district, and when we looked at some of the county data on changes in market value from 24 to 25, the median change was a 0.1% increase in Mahtomedi. If I remember right, the whole county actually went down about 2.7%. So we actually went up slightly. So pretty much just held level for the most part. So that's certainly not bad news for people who own a home here in the district. When we look at the estimated pay, that box on the left is what the impact this current levy is that we're looking at right now, the proposed levy. And the box on the right is what happened in the actual pay for 2024. So you can see that when we look at market value in the district, the median market value in the district is $518,000. And then there are some gyrations that this goes through. There are some exclusions. There is a change in the homestead market value exclusion, and that is excluding the first $95,000 of market value and on a home. And then that actually gets applied. You can see how that's applied in that second column E, to each of those different pricing levels for a home. And if you go all the way across to column H in that box, and I'm gonna stick with the median price level. The taxes would be, estimated taxes would be $2,448,000 on that $518,000 home. So then, if you go across to the next box, and then I'm going to jump over to column H. So last year, those taxes were $2,296,000. So an increase of $152 on that home. That's just a little over $500,000. And then you can see the tax impact on the other price levels, 250 going up in $50,000 increments. So any questions?
Just for those people listening, it's 2,000. The taxes were not 2 million, but in the thousands. I think I heard you say 2 million.
Oh,
You did say 2 million. I
Did I
would
say
say
two?
that
No, I'm sorry. Yes. Yes, it's been a long day.
Yep. Yep.
So thank you for that correction.
So the difference is $152 from 24 to 25 on a median price home.
That's correct. Yeah, on an annual basis. So not monthly. So
Not a million.
not a million. Yes, not a million.
Mhm, yeah.
You might have a lot more questions.
Yes. All right. Any other questions on this page? Okay. So as part of this process, we also need to present the budget, the current year's budget. And so this won't be any news to you. This is the one that you approved back in June. So it's essentially the same. Now we'll come to you in February with the budget revisions for this year. So any larger changes we'll include in that, and then we'll have you review those and approve those as well. So you can kind of see the different funds there, and so it's pretty probably something that you're certainly familiar with. We can see the unassigned fund balance, beginning fund balance, July 1st of 2024, which was estimated at 11.64%. And then let's look here. Pictures covering the bottom. I think it's looking at 8.94. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Perfect. So that's that. Any questions on that page?
Tim? Is it fair to say then, so, um, or fair to indicate that the district is using a portion of the unassigned fund balance to mitigate the overall impact to the budget?
Yes, yep, exactly. That is correct. So this was the year that, we talked about the previous year having, we actually had a small budget deficit projected. This was the year where we kind of moved into that larger deficit. So, and I believe we will probably see that come in a little less than what's presented here, once we get through the revisions and bring the revisions to you. So,
Thank you.
Just as a matter of record, and maybe this isn't the right time to bring it up, but I think if anybody's listening at home, just at a high level, like what's leading to us having the drop in the unassigned fund balance, or like what's causing us to kind of run a deficit this year? Like what are the main items?
well, we're in the people business, so our largest cost are wages and benefits. We have, if we look at things like transportation, when we brought on the new bus company, there weren't any other takers when the district went out for those bids. So transportation costs took a jump up of about 25%. Health insurance continues to be a challenge. When we look at health insurance, it sounds funny to say, but I was relieved that we came in with our health insurance at about just over 11%. It's, way above inflation, but again, it's what we've been seeing in the health insurance world. We see those double-digit increases. Just overall inflationary costs, inflationary pressures, we hear it time and again, and we're not immune. And then when we look at, we're not alone, when we look at other districts, many other districts are looking at budget deficits as well. So, of course, we see it in the news, and we see it in the paper, et cetera, all the time.
Yeah. Thank you. That's helpful. It's just when it hits home, I think it's good to reiterate why we're up
You
against
bet.
the challenges that we are.
You bet. Yeah. Thank you.
And I guess the only piece I'll add really simplified to this is that it was reassuring to see that we started with a healthy unassigned fund balance and the ability to be able to even do so. And
Yeah.
so it would have been very different if we weren't in that place. So,
Correct. Yes.
I mean, that, just the future is a little bit uncertain in the world. And so we were in a good place because we had that.
Yeah, and and I should mention too, if you remember, we, in that budget, we went through and we cut about $700,000 out of it. Really very little impact to student programs and that type of thing. So, it was good. We were able to do that, have very little impact, and still maintain that, we're a little bit above, the fund balance policy, so. Okay. So to sum up, what's required from the board tonight, so final board approval of that levy and subsequent to the hearing, so we'll get to that next point in the agenda. And then again, we'll submit the adopted final levy to our home county auditor by the end of the month, well, probably tomorrow if you approve it tonight. School districts to submit the certificate of compliance with the truth in taxation. And then the final budget amount is $17,215,511.82. That would be the amount of the levy that you're being asked to approve tonight. That is all I have. So any additional questions?
So I
you.
guess with that, we're going to move to the public comment section. If there's anyone that wishes to make public comments about the truth and taxation presentation. Hearing none, I'm looking for a motion to approve the certified pay levy 2024-2025.
I'll move that motion.
Moved by Director Donna. Is there a second? Second by Director Peterson. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Stay there, though.
Yep, I'm not moving.
He's not. Okay, next we're moving to action item C, approval of the Passages lease agreement.
So this is really, really good news. We, as you know, we've talked about this a little bit before, but this is the culmination. Now we're ready to move into the lease agreement. It's a 5-year period of time. It is for the Passages Transition Program. We are getting a much better location for that program. The space is better. It's really set up much better for them to run their program. I can give an example. In the current space that we've got now, they have a program where they like to work with the kids to, do a school store, that type of thing. And they run it out of bins right now because they don't have enough room to properly set it up. So this space is going to allow that. They'll be able to set that up. They'll be able to run some additional programs. One of the things that we looked at was we didn't need all of the space that was available. So we're actually getting a reduced rent because we're not renting the whole space. We also have the right to veto if a business comes in or something comes in that might be objectionable. We have the right to veto that. So that's written in the lease agreement. It's for, like I mentioned, a 5-year period of time, which is just about the right amount of time as we go through some of the other changes that we might be talking about down the road in the future. So, that's, I'll stop talking and ask you if you have any questions.
I don't
Okay.
have any questions. I know we've talked about this a couple of different times, so this isn't new information, so thank you for that.
You bet.
So with that, I'm looking for an approval of the Passages lease agreement. Do I have a motion? Moved by Director Doman. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Director Donna. Any discussion?
I'll just make a comment, Madam Chair. Yeah, the space that they're at is less than ideal. That is for sure. So it's good to see that they've been able to identify better space that's more workable and is a better situation.
Any other discussion? I will just add that I know that we've heard about this multiple times, and one of the questions we asked was, how do the staff feel about this? And the staff seem very excited about this as well. So, any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we're going to move to discussion and information items, and item A is the board member calendar. Does anyone have any items on there that you would want to call out on the board member calendar? Yeah, Director Peterson.
There is a coffee and conversation Zoom tomorrow for all school board members from 8 to 9 a.m.
Thank you. Other items? I know that mine is not loading for whatever reason. I'm not sure why, but the January 13th, I believe, is on there. Is that right, Leslie? That January 13th is now a study session? Have the right, sorry, I have a gray screen. It went gray. So, I noticed that as an addition, so I just want to make sure that everybody had that on their calendar. And I think that's an early start, like 5 p.m. Thank you, 5 o'clock at the Black Box. So that was the only thing I remember calling out, and I'm not sure why mine won't load. So, yeah.
So we just have an administrative meeting on the 6th,
The organization.
the organizational meeting.
Yes.
And then we have the study session on the 13th at 5 p.m. and then that's it for the month of. Okay, great, thanks.
Swearing in, correct?
That's correct.
But you're in Hong Kong?
He'll be here for, yeah.
You're here on the 6th. Okay.
other callouts on the calendar? Well, with that, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn. Oh,
Before you
no?
adjourn,
No?
no, I just feel terrible that I didn't realize that Joan DeMars is also listed
Oh,
in
yes.
our
Ah,
retirement.
yes.
And I was
Thanks.
quickly, as you saw me going through my computer, I was quickly trying to figure out how many years she's been with the district, but she is, typically we have our retirements at the end of the year, but she's retiring mid-year, so I want to also acknowledge Joan DeMars for all her years of service, because I know she's been with us for a very long time, so, I'm sorry about that.
4-0?
At 35.
goodness.
A very long
Either way,
time.
she's well experienced and
And we've
we're going to
got-
miss her.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
She
so-
started when she was 15.
Yes, she started when she was 12.
Absolutely. Okay, sorry about that to interrupt, but I flipped the page and realized I forgot her, sorry.
And I guess before we adjourn, I just want to wish happy holidays to the fellow board members and school district personnel and staff. And with that, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Director Peterson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Director Doman. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.